Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music. I'm going to talk about how you can play a song called Will the Circle Be Unbroken. And I'm kind of working a little bit off the Troy Baker version of this as kind of a request. And we're going to start off kind of working through some strumming options, and we'll talk about some fingerstyle options to kind of make this sound a little bit cooler. And we start off with our main progression on a C major chord. So we got first finger on the B first fret, second finger on the D second, and third finger on the A third fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a C major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. Now around C's in general, you may dig on lifting off the first finger and making that a C major 7. Or you could add in the pinky on the B third for a C major 9 and kind of say some stuff around it. Or another way to play C major 9 would be doing first finger on the D second, second finger on the A third, third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third. And if you kind of strum the A string to the high E string, that's another way you could play your C major. Another option, actually, especially when we're just about to go to an F major chord, is you could take the regular C major chord and then take the pinky and add it in on the G string on the third fret. And that makes a C7 chord, which is very, very good and nasty, and kind of helps point to an F major chord. We'll talk about some easy options for this. But normally you do this as a first fret bar, second finger on the G second, third finger on the A third, pinky on the D third. If you strum all those together, that sounds an F major bar chord, and it sounds really, really happy. Now if you're just starting out, a good option is to do an F major 7 by doing first finger on the B first fret, second finger on the G second, third finger on the D third, and if you strum the D string to the high E string, the groovy sounds of F major 7. Now what Troy's actually doing is kind of doing a variation of that, where you take the first finger and kind of bar over the high E and the B. It's kind of an F major chord. And if you wanted to, you could even use your third finger on the A string third, pinky on the D string third. And that way, actually, between the C and the C7 into that F variation, your third finger could actually kind of stay in the same place. That might make things a little bit easier. And then from the F, we'd be going back to our C. And then more C, there's a C bed, a C, and then we go to A minor. And normally you do this first finger on the B first fret, second finger on the D second, third finger on the G second. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an A minor chord, and it sounds really sad. You may also dig on lifting off the first finger, you can add an A sus2, or you could add in the pinky on the B third for an A suspended, and kind of say some stuff around it. Or you may dig on lifting off the third finger, making that an A minor 7. Or you can add in the pinky on the high E third for an A minor 7. Or you may dig on an A7 sus, doing first finger on the D second, second finger on the G second, third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third. Especially if you're digging on that other C major non-voicing, that could be a cool option for the A minor. And if you like that for the F, you could do first finger on the G second, second finger on the D third, third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third, and work an F major 13 for the F chord. So that way you move from the C to the F, back to the C, to the A7 sus, you wouldn't actually have to move 3 and 4, so that could make it easier if you're looking for easier ways out. And then from the A minor we go back to our C, and then from the C we go to a G major chord. And normally you do this first finger on the A second, second finger on the low E third, third finger on the high E third. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really happy. You may also dig on putting third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third, kind of working that for the G major. Or you'll definitely hear some spots where G7, which is a nasty chord, helps point to C. So you may want to dig on first finger on the high E on the first fret, second finger on the A second, third finger on the low E third. And you'll notice how shape-wise that almost looks like a C. You just got your fingers in the wrong place, right? So first finger on the high E, second on the A, third finger on the low E, into a G7, which really helps point back to the C chord, and another C. So the chord progression through our main verse chorus is going to be that C, 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 F, C. There's a C, C, A minor, got a C, G, C. I'm kind of doing just a 4 down count kind of on each chord through that. And if you take your flat of the right hand and kind of lay it down on top of the saddle, I can make that a little sneaky, so you may want to kind of experiment with that. Or you could use a strum pattern we're going to work into that fingerstyle stuff, but kind of just some strumming basics. One of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 like this is down, down, up, down, up. So we took the C and just tried that a lot. Yeah, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So we tried that through our main verse chorus. Now C, C. To a song like this too is bass notes, and a lot of times on that first down of the down, down, up, down, you can throw in the bass for the chord. So on the C you'd have the A for the bass, on the F bar you'd have low E for the bass, on the F major 7 you have the D for the bass, and on the F major 13 you'd have the D for the bass, on the A minor you'd have the A for the bass, and on the G you'd have low E for the bass. So if we tried that with a bass down, up, up, you'd have the C with an A bass, C with an A bass, and more C, or maybe a C7, F, C, C, there's a C there, C, on the A minor waiting, and the C sky, Lord G, the C sky. Now there are a lot of really cool ways that you could work bass lead-ins through this too, and especially for the C to F, for instance, on that last C7 chord, you could work kind of a moving bass line, kind of the 3 on the A string to open D, the 2nd fret on the D, into the F on the D string 3rd. So you have C, C, open D, 2nd on the D leads to 3rd fret on the D. So it's a little weird. On that last C I'm doing kind of a bass down, up, and picking it up on the open D, 2nd fret on the D to lead into the F. And then you can actually work that bass line back, actually, kind of a F, E, D, oh yeah, F, down, do the 2 on the D string, open D, could lead you back into the C chord. And a cool waiting move on a C, actually, and I'm going to throw a whole bunch of crazy bass lines here, but you have 3rd fret on the A, and I'm kind of doing it as a bass up idea, bass up, and then 3rd on the low E string to open A, the 2nd fret on the A. It's a cool little waiting move, actually, kind of a C up, G, A, B, C up, G, A, B, or 3 up, 3 on the low E, open A, 2 on the A, to lead you back to the C chord. And on the C that leads to the A minor, you may want to do kind of a bass, down, up, and then come back for the 3 on the A string, 2nd fret on the A, into the open A for the bass on the A minor. And you could almost work that in reverse to get back. Open A, down, up, open A, 2 on the A string, could lead you back to the C. And then randomly, actually, I mean, you get really crazy with this, thinking of ways to work bass notes to point to places. So actually, that might be enough on the bass lines. Yeah, but you could work 1 into the G2. So for the C, bass down, up, and then 2nd on the A string, open A, would lead you into the G major chord, and then back to the open A, 2nd fret on the A, could lead you back to the C chord. So there's all these cool little ways of kind of working bass lines. I will talk about the scale that these notes are coming out of, but you've got C with a bass, down, up, down, C with an A bass, down, up, down, C with an A bass, down, up, down, C with a bass, down, up, open D to 2nd on the D leads to F, down, down, F with a bass, down, up, 2 on the D, open D leads to C, down, C with a bass, up, 3 on the low E, open A, 2nd fret on the A leads back to C, down, up, up, down, C with the bass, down, up, 2 on the A, open A leads to A, down, up, down, A with the bass, down, up, open A, second fret on the A leads to 3 on the A string, up, down, and then the G, oh, I forgot my bass line, open A, second fret on the A, third fret on the A string, and do the waiting move maybe to start over again. C, down, C with the bass, down, down, C with the bass, down, down, C7 with the bass, down, open D, second fret, F, down, F with the bass, down, wow, you could mix this up all kinds of ways. That C waiting move, 3, 2, C with the bass, down, down, C with the bass, down, 3, 2, open A, down, A minor with the bass, down, 2, 3 with an A string, C, G. Kind of cheating my strumming there a little bit too. And those bass notes that we're using actually are all coming out of the key of C major. So if you're familiar with a C major scale, it's all the natural notes on the guitar. So if you're interested in those notes, you have third fret on the A string, if you want to kind of make it sound like a do note, and then open D, second fret on the D, third fret on the D, open G, second fret on the G, open B, and then first fret on the B. It's kind of your do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Randomly, those same note names. Down on the A string would be going 3, 2, open for C, B, A, and then 3, 1, O on the low E string for G and an F and an E. So all together on the E string you got kind of 0, 1, 3, on the A you got 0, 2, 3, on the D you got 0, 2, 3, on the G you got 0 and 2, on the B string you got 0, 1, 3, and on the high E string you got 0, 1, 3. Major scale that a lot of those moving bass lines are working around. There's all kinds of ways to kind of fill in tons of gaps that way too. You can kind of experiment with those or even throwing in chromatic lines. You know, kind of where you don't skip any frets, you know. So on the C to the A minor, even like the C, 3, 2, 1 could lead to open A. 0, 1, 2 could lead back to the 3 on the A string. Some of that just has to do with timing, how you want to lead into stuff. I've talked too much about bass lines because I really wanted to kind of go over some fingerstyle options for this song. And so kind of working. Oh, and actually we got to talk about one more strum thing because you could work a country feel actually, and this is where things could get really cool too. Speaking of bass lines, so on the C major chord, for instance. Normally what a country bass player will do is play what's called the root of the chord and the fifth of the chord for the bass lines. So you do the A string on the third would be your C note and you do a down up. And then you can take the third finger to go to the low E string on the third fret and kind of work another bass down up. So now I'm playing a C note on the A string third and I'm playing a G note on the low E string third. Kind of just doing a down up after each one. And that's your typical kind of strum for a country feel. Kind of a root, down, up, fifth, down, third on the A string, third on the low E string, and I'm moving the third finger to kind of get over that note. Now for the F, if you're doing the F bar, you'd have the low E string to the A string would give you that same sound. Low E bass, down, A string bass, low E, A string, or on the F major 7, kind of do that same idea of moving from the D string third to the A string third, or if you're using that other F, kind of working the 4-finger idea, you could already have those notes covered with the D string and the A string. And then for the A minor, you have the A string to the low E string for kind of your root, down up fifth, down, and then for the G, you'd have the low E bass to the D string for kind of your root fifth. So it might be cool just to kind of try that as a country feel too. Kind of C, C, da, da, C7, C7, da, da, F, C. There's a C, C, home and my way sky. Or you can throw that in with the bass lines. Kind of elaborate. So you can kind of experiment with that. That can be very cool, playing around with country bass lines and finding all kinds of ways to move from one chord to another chord. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be in that C major scale necessarily. Although, it can be very, very cool to kind of work even licks in that scale or adding in notes around the chords in the scale too. So while you're kind of playing around with it, kind of cool to take those notes that are in the scale. I'm not doing a great job of demonstrating this, but kind of taking those notes, kind of trying to bring those out. Actually, that could be cool to pick out the melody. Now I'm turning it into a two-part, actually. This is terrible, because I really wanted to talk about fingerstyle applications of the strumming. But you may want to dig on that melody, though, actually. That G, A, and there'll be tabs somewhere, right? All right, so you got G, A, C, C, E, D, C, E, O, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, O, O, 2, 1, 1, O, 3, 3, O. 1, 3, 0, 0, 1, 3, 0, 3, 1. It's kind of that melody. And you can back that up around the chords even, actually. I'm kind of gravitating to fingerstyle now. So what I'm doing is I'm using my thumb to cover the bass notes that we were talking about. And a lot of times what I'll do is giving the fingers a job. So you could go, index finger, your job is to play the G string. Middle finger, your job is to play the B string. And the ring finger, your job is to play the high E string. And you can even kind of almost work that melody around the chord, kind of working bass notes, and actually or little pieces of the chord. And then I've got that F chord, right? So I'm kind of trying to bring out the melody around that chord scenario. Oh, I ended up on the A minor 7. And I'm kind of just playing this, if I'm playing a B string note with the middle finger, I'm going, index finger can jump in on that. The main thing really is to kind of make the melody note, or you could even shift your fingers actually, even using index, middle, ring on the D, G, and B strings. Could be cool. Just anything below the melody is as long as you're playing the chord, it's kind of fair game. So you just want to make the melody note the highest note in the chord that you're playing, and you can do that with the strumming option too. Oh, that's beautiful. Now, if you wanted to just accompany your voice with a fingerstyle kind of an idea, though, your thumb becomes your bass player. So you could kind of be working the A string, and for the C chord anyway, And then you could line up your index middle ring to the G, B, and E strings. And you could even take that country idea we were doing, kind of the root chord, fifth chord, but now your chord, instead of a down up strum, you'd be doing index middle ring as kind of to imply the chord like all at the same time. So that is kind of weird. So your C or C7. Especially if you're just starting out with fingerstyle, and that melody thing just seems like really crazy. Yeah, you can just kind of get used to moving the fingers in an accompaniment kind of fashion, kind of like a strum pattern. But now it becomes a right hand arpeggio or right hand pattern, or a fingerstyle pattern. So you could work the country bass idea, and actually what can be cool if you want to try and get in some of the bass runs is either going thumb, index, or thumb, middle. So for instance, like the C to the A minor, right? You'd have the A minor or the C idea, and then you could go thumb, middle to lead into the A minor. That could be a very, very cool thing. And you can do it thumb, middle, thumb, index to kind of more follow those notes. So you could even try kind of adding in those moving bass lines to your fingerstyle idea. So it's almost like that middle is just really kind of keeping time with the index is keeping time. You know, thumb, index, it's kind of cool. Oh, and that's a cool pattern I like using too. It is, instead of going thumb and then kind of just letting the index middle ring do it all together as a chord idea, you could use an arpeggio or broken chord. And I just chipped a nail the other day. But you'd have kind of thumb on the A, middle for the B string, index for the G, and then ring finger for the high E. So kind of a bass B, G, E. It can be a very cool pattern to work. And you could even work that with the country feel, kind of alternating the basses from the root to the fifth. Pattern. Or it could be cool even doing the, and I just jumped into the walking bass line. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can just kind of keep it just on that arpeggio, kind of root, B, G, E, fifth, B, G, E for each chord. Especially if those move bass lines are like, man, that's too much to think about. So you may want to try just that one pattern. You know, maybe one bass line is easier for you to bring out than another. It's just endless possibilities with something like this, unfortunately. Fortunately. Oh yeah, man, you just keep on getting better at this. It's like, I could just strum this thing, but then I could do these basses, but then I could do these bass walks, but then I could turn it into a fingerstyle thing, but then I could pull the melody out of it. It's like, how many different ways do you want to kind of approach the tune? And you could take all those ideas and try and kind of weave them into something that you really like to play and cover. And you might want to try kind of doing that thumb, index, middle ring all together sometimes, but then doing the arpeggio part sometimes too. So you almost put those ideas together. I think there's definitely some spots where Troy does that. But it's funny because I've seen him do some fingerstyle stuff and I've seen him do some pig stuff. play around with. Or you could even try those same ideas of breaking up the chords with the pick. You know, so that can be kind of a cool thing too. Or playing around with the bass notes. Or other bass notes. Kind of experiment with that too. That's a lot to think about and a lot to digest for a lesson on a traditional tune like this, but I thought that would be kind of cool. And there are lots of other ways to play this tune, and I'm sure you'll find YouTube videos with people playing it in every conceivable key. There is no right key for a traditional song like this. It's just whatever is good for your voice. So if C major is like a terrible key and you're like, man, I really like all this stuff Munson was talking about, but my voice doesn't work in the key of C, you know, feel free to grab a capo and capo it up and kind of find a key that's better for you. You know, it's like, well, I don't like the key of C, so, you know, I'm sure this happens in Nashville every day. Then they're like, okay, well, let's try the key of D flat major or C sharp major. How's that feel, you know? There's a better on the waiting. It's like, I can't hit that note, you know? It's like, okay, all right, well, let's go up a little bit more. You know, we'll put it on capo third, so now you're in the key of E flat, you know? It's like, okay, my voice sings a little bit better there, you know. So feel free to grab a capo and put, you know, this lesson. Actually, and I would recommend any lesson, you know, any song randomly, especially if you're working root position chords. If you're playing it out, you know, grab a capo and go find where your voice sounds good on that tune, and that can be a great practice regime. It's like, I'm going to try an open, I'm going to try capo 1, capo 2, capo 3, capo 4, you know. It's like every time you're practicing this song, it's like you're stretching your voice a different way, or finding where you have to drop down. So it can be really good vocal practice, just if you're into that. I know, you know, I just had a conversation about that with a student the other day, so just throwing it out there. But that's the basics of how you could play around with a lot of fingerstyle and strumming options for Circle Be Unbroken, kind of working off the Troy Baker version. So good luck! Hi, wherever you are in YouTube land. This is Munson Summer with Munson Music Live, Munson Guitar Songs, Munson Covers, and Munson Jam Tracks. Thanking you for watching this video, and I hope you got something out of this video. I hope you like this video and subscribe to the channel to see lots more like it. I'm always open to your requests. If you have a song that you love, please let me know so I can write it down on the request list so I can add that to it, because there's probably other people out there who love that song too and would love to learn how to play it. So thanks so much for all the love that you give me, and I hope that you're doing well and kind of figuring out how you can talk with the instrument. We are a small music shop in the middle of nowhere in South Carolina, and you're supporting us by watching this channel. Really appreciate all that love. So best of luck, and let me know if there's anything that I can do to help you in particular too. You can contact me on Facebook. You can leave a message here in the comments section, and I respond to all the comments that I get. So best of luck to you wherever you are.